Well, I hope people are having a good week. This is finals week, and that's always going to be a wee bit of a stress on people. I wanted to do this, and it's just going to be like a half an hour long. You got to watch it and turn in 5 things that you saw, noticed, learned, whatever, just like regular. And it is, and it is just an extra credit type of thing. So if you watch it, that's great. If you don't get any points taken off. If you do watch the recording and stuff and you submit it before Friday night, you do get a little bit of extra credit. Not a little bit, but it is at least a little bit. I wanted to go over some of the things in the class and talk about some things that are important over the next couple of days. About half of everybody has taken the final, and that's great because we're halfway through the week. That's awesome. Whether or not you think you're going to do or finish the rest of the assignments or things done, it is really important to get the final. So even if you are still scrambling, still doing stuff, not sure how the class is coming along, do the final and submit that. Because I can work on other stuff. I can work with you if other things have to be turned in quite a bit later than the deadlines we've made. We can do stuff. But with the final, I can't. I can't change that at all. So it needs to be submitted by Friday at midnight. So please take care of that. Some of the things that I'm noticing that I am really impressed with is I talked at the very beginning of the semester about submitting and then resubmitting if you didn't get all the points you wanted. And I have been really impressed with what people have been submitting and resubmitting. Uh, there have been a couple times where it looks like the person did not understand the description of the assignment. And uh, what is kind of interesting is every once in a while when that happens, uh, oh hey Alex,
Hi.
you startled me because I was just pontificating in my highly educated way, and then the screen blipped and you showed up.
Sorry to scare you. How are you?
All right. So this is recorded, and you just saved countless future viewers from death by boredom.
I'm glad.
Well, I was just talking about how the the final is really important because even with assignments coming in late and things like that, I can always work with that. But if the finals aren't turned in by Friday at midnight, there's nothing I can do about it. It's lost. And I
Okay.
was saying that I was really happy because we're halfway through the week and I've got half the finals in. So that's perfect.
Okay.
But and I was just saying to anybody that watches this, if they haven't turned the final in yet, even if you haven't finished your assignments, don't worry about that. Turn the final in now because I can always find ways to work with you to get late assignments to count towards your grade. I
Okay.
can't do that with the final. So
Makes sense.
that's that's something that I wanted to reiterate. So that's good. And then I was also going on quite a bit. I have been really impressed with when somebody doesn't get a perfect score, people in this class this semester have been really good about looking at the comments that I've made, turning around, reworking stuff, and resubmitting.
Yeah.
And I think that the record has been like less than 5 minutes. When
Oh,
like I think it was annotated bibliography, a person's things were out of alphabetical order, and I just said that, and I went and did something else. I turned around, got a drink of water, came back, and they had already fixed it and resubmitted it.
that's
So
actually really funny.
yeah, it's really great because I just like being in a class with such responsive people. I think it demonstrates quite a bit of professionality too, which speaks well to the careers you guys are making. So that's awesome. And some of the stuff we've seen has been. pretty amazing, or some of the stuff I've seen that you guys have been doing has been pretty amazing. We did get just this last couple days. I got another artist PowerPoint, another peer critique, and another self critique in. So that's really good. And I every day. Well, I'm not going to say every day. It's like every 2 hours, I will come and I'll find that more stuff has been submitted. So I'll get it graded, pat myself on the back because it's updated, and then I turn around, come back 2 hours later, and more stuff has been turned in. And that is awesome. That means that you guys are trying really, really hard. And that's can I mention Alex? Can I mention you for just a second?
Yeah.
Because you're one of those people where if I step away from my computer and come back a couple hours later, there's another assignment from you that has just been turned in, and that's been really good to see. I
Thank you.
People have been going through and getting the old attendance ones done, which is great. And just right before starting this, I noticed that somebody turned in two more quizzes, and yeah, I appreciate that. I know summer is not an easy time to schedule for anybody, and the fact that you guys are willing to take this class and go through it says an awful lot. And I'm really glad to see so much stuff getting turned in.
Yeah, thank you. I do have a question for you.
Yes, excellent.
Um, I bought the textbook for $7, and I
Oh, that
know.
is awesome. That is
Thank you.
great. That I the previous I think the record has been like 4.99 including shipping. So $7 is not bad at all.
Yes, I was able to get my hands on the second edition for $7. And I was gonna ask, once we're done with this course, I know sometimes students have a hard time getting PDF copies. Would you want me to mail you my book and you can just use that to upload different PDF versions for students, or
I don't think I could do that.
okay.
But after this class, if you want to post it on Facebook Marketplace and post it on Facebook Marketplace specifically for Utah County,
Mm-hmm.
um, then I know that there's like 6 or 7 sections of this class, and we all use that book, and we're all telling people to go to Facebook Marketplace to try to find it. That helps, and that's actually a great question because um, unlike my younger brother, who thought it was really cool to keep all of his outdated textbooks in a collection that he still has 30 years later. Um, Normal, healthy people don't typically want to keep their textbooks around, and we're going to keep using the same one because it's really the best out there. So if anybody has theirs and they want to sell it, the bookstore on campus is not going to take them back because they didn't sell them in the first place. But I would recommend Facebook Marketplace. I would also recommend um, like eBay. You know, if you already have an account with eBay, you can list it on eBay,
Mm-hmm.
or you can do the same kind of thing with as a used book with um, Amazon. I believe there is a way that regular, ordinary folk can post a used book on Amazon and sell it that way. And if not, there are other options too. But I think those are two of the easiest. eBay and Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is really good because it has the benefit of being free.
Okay.
So
Okay.
at least until it sells, then I think you give them something. But um, yeah, that's a really good one. And I'd say specifically target Utah County if you can.
Okay. I will. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Any other questions about assignments or anything like that?
Um, So far, I'm pretty much good. I'm about to go back and do discussions once I finish my last quiz.
Okay,
Uh,
that's a good point. I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. That's a really good point. Something else that I've been saying that I hope people remember is when Friday midnight hits, you can't upload any more quizzes or discussions. So even if you're not all the way done with everything else and you need the 2 extra days for the other stuff, get the quizzes in the discussions, Alex, like you just said, get them posted now. So that's great that you're already planning on that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just working on a quiz as I'm also talking to you.
Well, that's totally fine. I'm wondering. I wanted to share. I think it's an issue with my browser as to why I can't really control the screen sharing function. But I wanted to share the PowerPoint that was turned in, as well as uh, the peer and self critiques, if that's okay. And if you can watch with um, part of your brain while you're also working on the quiz, that'd be awesome.
Yes, I can do
Okay.
that.
And then that'd be an opportunity for people to see these, because you guys have been doing a great job with these things, and it just makes me really happy. Okay, I'm getting it set up. That's why I'm being all quiet right now. And in just a second, I will do my screen share, and then hopefully it'll work. And if it works, then we'll see it.
Okay, cool. I put you on my second monitor, so I am ready to watch.
All right. Okie dokie. Here we go. I'm doing the screen share now. Let's see if it works. Yeah, the problem is if I still had a 12-year-old at home, this would not be an issue at all. Okay. Here we go. Okay. All right, we're going to video details. This is the self-critique by Rebecca. Can you see that?
Yes,
Okay, and then this is self-critique or peer critique by Rebecca. Can you see that one?
yes,
And then the last thing I'm clicking is Cal's Ruth Asawa.
yes. I see that. I see
Okay.
all of them.
All right. We're gonna watch the Ruth Asawa one first, and then we'll watch the critiques. And after each one, we'll just talk about it for just a second.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about Ruth Asawa, one of America's most influential artists. She was a sculptor, educator, and advocate for arts education. Even though she experienced many hardships through her life, she transformed those experiences into beautiful artwork, and she spent her life encouraging creativity in others. So, a little bit of background. Ruth was born in California in 1926. To Japanese immigrant parents. Her childhood changed dramatically during World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Like thousands of other Japanese Americans, her family was forced from their home and placed in internment camps. They were first sent to the Santa Anita racetrack and later moved to the Rower Relocation Center in Arkansas. Living conditions were pretty difficult, and her family basically lost everything to which they owned. Even during this really tough time, though, Ruth found comfort in drawing. She was inspired by artists she met in the camps, including former Disney animators who encouraged her to continue developing her artistic skills. These experiences helped shape the artist that she would later become. So this is a little bit of a photo. This photo shows Ruth with friends at the relocation center in 1943. Although life in the camps was difficult, Ruth later said that the creating art helped her stay hopeful. Instead of, and Ruth, by the way, is in the back row on the far right. Instead of allowing these experiences to define her negatively, she used them actually as motivation. Many people believe that the patience and resilience she developed during this time became important qualities in both her life and her artwork. Lasting impact. Ruth Asawa made a lasting impact on both the art world and also in her community. She became internationally known for her delicate wire sculptures, which look light and simple but are actually very complex to create. She often experimented with new techniques. She drew inspiration from nature, plants, flowers, shells, and different organic shapes. Beyond making art, she believed that everyone should have access to creativity. She worked tirelessly to expand arts education in San Francisco and helped establish programs that gave children more opportunities to learn through art. Her legacy continues today because she showed that art can bring people together, inspire communities, and help express themselves. People express themselves. Family and personal life. She raised 6 children with her husband. She obviously got married. She got married to an architect named Albert Lanier. She often created artwork at home while surrounded by her family. Instead of separating her work from her personal life, she believed that everyday experiences could actually inspire creativity. She encouraged her children to be creative. She valued curiosity, learning, imagination. Along with caring with her family, she remained deeply involved in promoting arts education and improving opportunities for the generations to come. This next photo is actually a photo of her family. It shows her obviously and her 6 kids. But if you look at this photo, it helps us to understand that she wasn't just an artist; she's also a wife, a mom, and somebody who balanced multiple different responsibilities in her day-to-day life. Her family played a huge role, and she often said that some of her best ideas came from just the ordinary moments at home. This balance between both her family and creativity became a good defining part of her life. Talking a little bit about legacy, Ruth's most famous exhibitions is called, or one of them is called "The Line Can Go Anywhere." Um, the title reflects her belief that a single line could become endless artistic possibilities. Her sculptures were created by looping and weaving wire into flowing organic forms. Even though they look delicate, they require incredible skill and patience. Today, her work's in museums around the world, and a ton of people really admire what she has done in all of her work. Here are a few of her pieces. The sculpture on the left here shows woven wire forms that made her famous. She developed this technique after learning traditional wire basket weaving while studying art. And the artwork on the right is a demonstration of how she used repeating shapes and natural forms to create sculptures. They seem simple, but also kind of seem complex as well. So you can also love the way that the lighting kind of switches up, or basically the angle helps out with the way that you view the light. Sorry, the lighting is changed by your angle. Here's my works cited. These are a few of the resources that I used while learning about Ruth. This was a super cool assignment, and I'm glad I was able to learn and deep dive into her life.
All right, Alex, if it's okay, I'm going to talk about this for just a second, and then I'd like to get your impression on it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
A couple of things that I really liked about this. Well, I think the biggest thing that I like about this is that Cal kept talking about Ruth's life. He would give a little bit of her biography, and then he would talk about specifically about how she tied that part of her life into her art, like the creative moments, the line, the balancing all these responsibilities, not separating her home life and her professional life. And it was interesting talking about that, like just the internment camp. He didn't tell a lot of stories about the time in the internment camp, but it was vital because she herself referenced that as she talked about her work later. And I thought that was a really good way of doing it. So we don't know the age that she lost her first tooth, or how much she dated when she was in high school, because that Cal didn't find things that directly related that to her artwork. But everything that Ruth went through that was a life forming experience, he was able to bring that. I thought that was a really interesting way of doing it. And have you been to Topaz Mountain?
No, I haven't.
because that's the famous Japanese internment camp that's just down here on the west side of Utah Lake, and it is a really fascinating place to go. But it is not a place you go if you want to have a party. That's because it is, yeah, it's pretty sad. And that the thing that amazes me is that so many Japanese Americans went through so much at these internment camps throughout the United States, and um, that they would have every right to emerge completely bitter. But one of the most award-winning uh, units of World War II was made entirely of Japanese Americans. They were given the most horrible jobs to do because other soldiers didn't trust them, and they not only did it, but they saved countless lives in the process. And I just that that's pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
I think that that's pretty amazing. All right, and so here is a oh, and I'm sorry. So what did you notice about this? What did you like?
Um, just about how her experiences within the camp shaped her artwork. It reminds me of another artist that I've been learning about on my own free time named Kenji Nakazawa. He lived through Hiroshima, and so he made a movie called Barefoot Gen about his experience. And that was like a very jarring movie to like just from the clips I've seen, it's like very rough to watch. So it's just like seeing someone be able to go through something like horrific and still be able to make art and want the world to be able to experience creativity. I think that was like a really cool thing to learn about her. And, you know, she still, I mean, it was a hard time, but she managed to move on, get married, and have her own family and surpass her legacy. So I think that's like really cool. So I think Cal did a great job kind of like showing that off.
Yeah, I think that's a really great observation. It reminds me of two other filmmakers. Akira Kurosawa lived through some pretty harsh things, and then went on and gave us films that pretty much redefined worldwide how people view things like heroism. You know,
Yeah.
his and then the oh, I can't remember his name. The old grandpa guy that's at the head of Studio Ghibli.
Oh,
Do you know who
I
I'm
know who
talking?
you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, and as soon as I started talking about it, I could not remember his name. But that's another example. That guy lived through some horrific stuff, and it all is poured into his Studio Ghibli things, which I think most of us growing up interested in animation of any sort, those films have been instrumental in developing a really positive worldview. You know, and so I think that's and to have Cal point that out with Ruth, and you talk about Kenji, I think that's pretty cool. That's amazing.
Thank you. It was Hayao Miyazaki.
Miyazaki, yeah, that's right. Okay, thank you very much because I was not going to be able to sleep tonight because I couldn't remember that.
Totally fine.
All right, now this is a peer critique, and the peer critiques, remember, they only have to be 3 to 5 minutes long, and what we're doing is going through the four tools of artistic critique as we look at somebody else's work. So this is a really excellent photo to work from because the person who made the photo, you see all 12 sides that they made in their texture tiles up here and color tiles right here. So let's see what Rebekah has to say. Oh, before we do that, okay, I've already done that. Before we start, Alex, can you see this? It says peer critique by Rebekah.
I see it.
Okay, excellent.
Hi everyone, here is my artistic critique on Elizabeth Harrow's tile works. I really like these cubes that she came up with, so we're kind of just gonna go through that. So first of all, there's these texture cubes here at the top. I really like to see the different textures there. It looks like sand on one side, chia seeds maybe on the other, some petals, some leaves, some dried flowers it looks like are grass, and some rocks at the top. I really like the way that these elements are placed so then it creates something of interest on each side. Not all of them are too overfilled and not all of them are too flat. They all have a beautiful texture on there. I like the bright colors here. Looks like of petals. I think the way that it is organized really creates a way for us to see interest in these cubes. We're also going to go through the color ones as well. I love these ones as well. The different cuts of the paperworks create um, just sort of an interest here, like especially this one. This one kind of giving me a like a ripple in the water vibe. I really like that one, and we love the weaved one as well. I like how these colors are very similar on each piece on these ones here in the front, just because those can show those colors put together, but also in a beautiful way. I like the textures here, especially I think this is sand here. I just like how there's different thicknesses where you can see where it's more thin and other parts where it's thicker onto the piece here. I think what Elizabeth is trying to communicate with these is kind of just the different textures of the earth. I think it's giving more earthy vibes on each of them. On these here, I think these just have like a fun feeling. They're very whimsical, bright colors. Also, just intriguing. Like this ripple here is just right into the center. It directs the eye right there. I think these are very effective and very creative pieces. Um, One of the things I really like is her use of the volume on each side of these pieces. It's not completely flat. There are like some corners that you can see, but I love how each element here, like these leaves here, pop out. The chia seeds create like a balance and unity on here that just ties these together. I feel like as well as like the rocks here. I love the rocks on these ones just because you get so many different colors and textures from the rock itself. Adds more weight to these as well. I feel like these are very weighted cubes. Like this one's lighter, but this one's more weighted. Just because of the mass of the rocks. Like rocks are heavy, so it feels heavier there. And then with these ones, they just feel lighter. I feel like I can pick these up and just chug them across the room. They feel very light just due to the lighter colors that they have. I think the darkest contrasting color is this red here, but it still ties in super well with the oranges. So that's just my.
All right, that ended a little bit abruptly. And there were some things that I really liked about that, some things that kind of frustrated me. And it wasn't a process of the critique so much that frustrated me. It's that like my microphone and stuff will filter out a lot of the extraneous background noise.
Yeah.
And so I don't get a lot of that, even when the dog is whining in the background, you guys don't hear it. And so that was just a little bit disconcerting. But it was, she said I a lot and she was talking very personally. And then it dawned on me, she was being very personable, but she went right down the list and answered all the questions in the four tools of artistic critique. But she was talking about it so casually, it just felt like it was just rambling on. And I thought that was really an interesting way of doing it. But some of the things that she brought out that I really liked was like these top two cubes really do mirror each other. And there is this consistency of theme that Rebekah talked about, which I thought was very interesting. And without her talking about that, I don't know if I would have really noticed that too much. But
Right.
now looking at it more, I can see the colors are kind of bouncing off each other. The textures are not identical, but they kind of mirrored ideas, and which is really interesting. And then the same thing as she talked about the colors. Yeah, I noticed some of the same kinds of things going on. So that was kind of fun. So what did you think about it?
The background noise was a little distracting, but I do agree with her about the bottom, the bottom cubes that she kept zooming in on and how they were light and airy. One thing I would like to point out, just my critique of the other one, is that it has a weaving technique between red and orange, and I thought that was like pretty interesting because the values are so similar. So it's a little hard to see, but I like it. I think it's interesting. But yeah, no, I think overall it was a pretty good video since she hit all the topics, but it was just really loud in the background, so that was a little distracting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I thought overall she did a really good job, and the
Mm-hmm.
time is absolutely perfect. Yeah. What you remember me telling you guys um, how long the longest? Uh, I think it was like an art. It wasn't one of the critiques. It was one of the PowerPoint presentations. Do you guys remember me telling you how long that was?
No, you don't. I'm sorry.
This student had gone to New York over spring break and got really excited about it. And so they started sharing stories about that while they were doing their PowerPoint. And it ended up being like 37 minutes long. Everybody was about ready to get their pencils and stab their ears out because it was going on for so freaking long. So that's why I say, 5 to 7 minutes on the PowerPoint, 3 to 5 on the critique, because I don't want anybody losing their snot when when they start slowly going insane from going on way too long. And Rebecca again did it perfect time, 3:37. This is absolutely perfect. So I don't have any complaints with you guys. I think like 3 years ago, somebody did one on Anna Mendieta, and he became like a super fan of hers during the semester as he was researching about her. And so
Mhm.
his final one was 14 minutes, I think. And so after that, I told everybody, okay, if you go 10 minutes or longer, then you fail.
Okay. That makes sense.
But that's okay. Here we go. Self critique. And this is a fun sculpture to critique too. That looks really fun. Okay, here we go.
What's my critique of this wire sculpture here? So this wire sculpture, as stated, is made up of wires. I really like how in this sculpture there are different parts of the wires that are thicker than others. It helps just create that form, but also kind of leads the eye with the lines as well. So I really like how there's like looser areas like this part here, or there's this part here, which is much thicker, kind of creating more interest there. I like how there's lots of different kinds of lines, so it kind of leads you around the entire object itself. It's all this black wire here. I like the way that the lines here, kind of the thicker areas, kind of lead you to the center of what looks to be like a face. I like that because it just helps us take a look a bit more at each and every detail. Once you get a look at this top part up here, you can kind of lead your eye down to this nose part, this what looks like ears, a little lip here, and then the neck connecting everything together. But mostly the eyes are like the center of everything here. I think what the artist is trying to communicate is that um, it's kind of like could be like a self portrait or just a person on the day to day. The face kind of looks kind of nonchalant per se, so not a lot of emotion there. It could be even like slightly angry, or it could be just upset, or just a neutral face. I think that creates something. Just kind of having like that monochromatic background as well, or kind of vibe with the whole thing. So it's kind of just a very neutral object, a very neutral sculpture. Not tons of emotions are brewing there, but it could be something that with like the details around it, kind of makes you feel like a little bit more, I think, like clustered, especially with like the darker areas around like the nose, the eyes. Kind of shows like a little bit like possibly like wrinkles, things like that. So it kind of looks like an older face. I really like how you can see like behind the eyes here, kind of where the head keeps going. So it shows that it has volume, that it's not a completely flat object, as well as like this neck part here. You can see it's holding up the head just by these two lines here, but it's doing so in a very in a way where it's stable, where it's not moving and kind of keeps on going with that neutral feeling. So it's something that's not in motion currently. I really like how this also kind of, if you look more at the details here, like possibly like the eyes here, you can feel a little bit more of what's maybe going through the artist's head while they're making this. I like how it has these big wide ears that are very simple in comparison to the rest of the work itself. But yeah, that's my critique on this value.
All right, excellent. Um, Rebecca did the same kind of thing, going through the same way, going through the four-step process, the four tools.
Hmm.
What I was really impressed with is that this is her work, and it didn't sound like it was her work at all as she was talking about it. And that is not an easy thing to do. You know, I tell people try to divorce yourself from it, pretend it's the first time you've seen it, and Rebecca did that really well. And I was thinking it was interesting when she was talking about the different line quality, kind of forcing you to go back to the center of it and kind of directing your attention around. One of the things that come to my mind was Artemisia Gentileschi and Rembrandt were both incredibly incredibly good at forcing you with with the way they use light and texture in their paintings. They forced your eyes through the narrative of the piece. So as you're, you know, as your eye follows exactly where they want you to go, and they're leading you like a bull with a ring through its nose, exactly where they want your eyes to go, and you get the tail of the painting. Caravaggio was really good at that as well, and I thought that just came to me while um, she was talking about that, because I thought it was interesting that yeah, I can totally see that. You start off here in this little string at the bottom, you start going around here, following the curve around, it gets more and more interesting and more stuff going on, and you find yourself back in the center of the head, and you come across it where your eyes come across almost anywhere, and you keep doing the same kind of thing. So I
Yeah,
thought that was a nice point that she brought out. So what did you think about her critique?
I think she did a phenomenal job. If you had not told me that she was the one who made this, I would not have known. I genuinely thought, well, I mean, it's a self-critique right there, but I literally was not paying attention to that. So I thought it was someone else as I was listening to her talk.
Yeah, and what's cool about that is that I've had students finally realize how good they are at what they do because they divorce themselves from the object and try to approach it as if it's the first time they've ever seen it, even though it's their object. Because you guys, all of you are incredibly intelligent. All of you are perfectionists, and that is a struggle that you guys have, not recognizing your own ability. And you know, sorry for preaching a little bit, but that's one of the reasons why I want you to do a self critique and pretend it's not yours, because you guys will realize, oh yeah, I actually do good work.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. And if you want to stick around after I've finished recording, that is just fine.
Okay.
Um, and but I just wanted to do like a half an hour thing for people that are interested in getting just a little bit of extra credit. Remind people that the what is it called? SRI, the student review um, things. You get extra credit for that, the 2%. A couple people have told me they can't find it. Have you been able to find the SRI link?
It just pops up for me. Whenever I open up the class webpage, it pops up for me to do a survey.
Okay, all right. So it's popping up for you. I've also heard that you can find it if you go to your principal student interface, um, your me page kind of thing. It's supposed to show up
Mm-hmm.
there, and everybody is also supposed to have gotten emails from the university for each of the classes they were taking that gave them an SRI link. But several people told me this semester that they didn't get one. So if you're having a hard time finding that, um, I would say try those. You know, look at your junk mail, look at your deleted emails, but then also contact your academic advisor, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd be willing to bet that they would be able to walk you through getting that. So,
Okay.
all right. And before I stop recording, I just want to remind people, make sure you get your final done before Friday at midnight. And the earlier you get it, if you're missing a couple points, you have time to go back and fix it and resubmit. And I doubt you're going to get that with any other um, final offered at UVU. So hopefully you're going to get more than your money's worth with me, because you can take your final 3 times if you want for the price of one. No, but thank you very much for joining me, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their week. You guys are doing wonderful. Just keep it up.
Thank you.